Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. If you can, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. If you can, just try. If you see an open
Good evening, everybody. My name is Roxanne Hunt, and I will be your MC this evening. So I want to welcome you to this beautiful celebration of Nancy Cheryl Davis Bellamy. We're so glad that you're here tonight to join together our hearts, our minds, and spirit to remember and celebrate our dear Nancy, who wore many hats. Friend, colleague, mentor, director, producer, teacher, sister, actor, wife, auntie, writer, and so much more. So Nancy was my cousin, still is my cousin. And interestingly, we really never spent much time together as kids. I lived in Canada, and she lived across the border in Detroit. So I recall maybe 3 to 4, maybe 5 times we got together to hang out. A few times lakeside, a few times at her home, and a time or two at my home. Now, she and I are the same age, and most of our adolescence and adulthood, we didn't see or speak to each other. I thought it was so cool when I found out that I had a famous cousin in Hollywood who was making movies and going to some crazy parties. And I remember one time in my 30s, I took a trip out to see her for a few days. And then we lost track again till 2016, when I permanently relocated to LA. And as she and I talked heart to heart a few days before she passed, we reminisced about a few things. She recalled our fun times playing cowboys and Indians, of all things, which nowadays we couldn't do, it wouldn't be politically correct. But I noticed even back then that her directing skills emerged at a very early age, because I never got to be the cowboy. I always had to be the Indian every single time. And then I remember the time that she told me that she made a discovery. Now keep in mind, we were kids, about how wonderful using Noxzema was for your skin. Do you remember Noxzema? Remember that smell? Oh my gosh. After being the Indian and having all that stuff on my face, we put a lot of it on. And I remember one time slathering on almost an entire jar of that stuff. So lucky me, I even had my own personal beauty consultant. And then we lost track again. Fast forward to September 2016, I found my dear cousin on Facebook. And then the love affair started all over again. We would get together in LA for dinner, and in between that, we'd have phone chats to catch up. And as I started my own career here, she was always there to cheer me on every step of the way. And I had a few epic visits with her in her home bedside just before she passed. Both times I visited, she commented on how I looked so much like Kamala Harris. It was election time, and every time, I think 2 or 3 times she mentioned that to me. I think it was the hair that she thought I looked like Kamala Harris, and she seemed quite interested in that. I insisted that she and I have a final photo shoot together, and bless her heart, at this point, she was so sick, she wasn't eating, she could barely stand up, and we took pictures making faces for the camera. It was just one of those silly, joyful moments in time, and to see that she still had a sense of humor, even at that dire place in her life. Nancy asked me to please take care of a few things for her, which I agreed to do. One of them being to officiate for her final party, which is what we're doing now. And I also gave her an assignment that when she got on the other side, I asked her if she would please greet my parents for me and give them a big warm hug. That would be her Uncle Robert and Aunt Jerry, my mother and father. Nancy and I also shared a similar outlook on spirituality and life, and also the idea that there was no death, just new life. And she also shared with me finally why she became an actor, as she figured it was one of the best ways to leave her legacy. And I remember that I tried to remind her that besides leaving a tangible legacy, perhaps the best legacy anybody could leave was such a beautiful feeling of warmth and love in someone's heart. She had made movies, she had all that tangible evidence, but all that love would be imprinted in the hearts of others. But at that moment, when we had that really precious discussion, neither of us knew that fast forward, this March 2025, our sweet Nancy is receiving posthumously the prestigious 2025 Infinity Award. Now, this award is given out to women who have made incredible contributions in the entertainment world. She stands tall with people like Diane Carroll, Carol Channing, B. Arthur, and Eartha Kitt, amongst others. That is a really high honor, yes. I'm so proud of you, cousin. So my sweet Nancy, I wish you well in your new life. And I'm absolutely certain that you are here with us tonight, smiling, loving, and watching our every move. But this time you don't get to direct. However, you will always be the absolute star of the show. So with that, lights, camera, action. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Cortland Pitt, who will share some spiritual remarks. Thank you.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, as we gather today to celebrate, we thank you for Nancy, Cheryl, Davis, Bellamy, the gift that you have given all of us. We ask that you fill our hearts, give us the abundance of love and joy and laughter that echoes this place tonight. We pray that everything that we do, oh God, will be to honor you as we honor and give our souls and our gifts to Nancy. Thank you again, oh God, for her gift to this world. In your name we pray. Amen. When I think about Nancy, I think about the sunshine that the shadows could not cast away. I often think about the individual who worked in the shadows of excellence, those who toiled tirelessly away behind the scenes of great performances. I believe that to maintain energy and focus in achieving imaginable success, one has to be, without a shadow of a doubt, loyal to one's calling, purpose, and existence. Susan Phillips says, anything worth having is worth fighting for. It means the struggle is real with artistry. And not everyone will understand why we do what we do. But one thing that we do know is that your gift will make room for you and put you in places you wouldn't dream of. Nancy was faithful to one's calling, a woman who had a strong will and strong-mindedness, and didn't give in to any distractions or complacency. She succeeded beyond what her eyes could see. She was not swayed by what they saw, but by what she believed to be true. People working in their calling must possess a sense of humility, a caring heart, and a nurturing spirit. If you can possess these gifts, Nancy would say you will soar high. One of the distinguishing characteristics of Nancy is the consistency of a positive attitude. Nancy was a light in the artistry, a soul who poured her heart into her craft, leaving beyond not just creation, but emotions and stories and beauty that will continue to resonate in all of our hearts. And when I think of Nancy, her work is more than just art. It's an extension of her spirit, a reflection of the passion and depth with which she viewed the world. Beyond her talent, she was a loving wife, an aunt, a sister, a trusted friend, a mentor, a coach, a source of warmth, inspiration, and unwavering support for many of us. Nancy's presence was magnetic. She drew people in with her genuine kindness and infectious enthusiasm. She was sunshine, the epitome of the sunrise that never had a sunset. She had an uncanny ability to see the beauty in the mundane and to transform ordinary moments into extraordinary memories. Her heart was a testament to her ability to capture the essence of life's fleeting moments. And her legacy is one of love, creativity, and compassion. In remembering Nancy, we celebrate not only her artistic achievements, but also the profound impact she had on those around her. She was a blessing to my son, CJ, who is in college pursuing music. She was one of his greatest influences, a beacon of light, a guiding star in the often tumultuous world of art and beyond. Because of Nancy, CJ realizes life serves as a reminder that true greatness often lies not in the spotlight, but within the quiet strength and unwavering dedication of those who can labor in the shadows until the sun rises. Me personally, I am truly grateful for Nancy, for how she touched my family and transformed my thinking. You can only be happy when you pursue your passion and not your pension, because life is only a vapor. So please know that you are not alone in your grief. The love she shared, the art she created, and the lives she touched will never fade. Her legacy lives on in the brushstrokes of her personality, her melodies, and the words she chose to express her soul. And if you listen closely, you will hear her in the quiet moments, the whisper of the wind through the trees, the golden glow of the morning sun, the soft hush of the world as night falls. More importantly, she will continue to live on in our shared memories, her love that will never leave, and the strength you will find even on the hardest days. My brothers and sisters, she is not gone. She is simply beyond sight, woven into the very fabric of our being. So I say to you tonight, may God bless the Davis Bellamy family and the TFT organization. We love you, Nancy, and we will never forget you. May God bless you.
Nancy Cheryl Davis Bellamy, critically acclaimed producer, director, actress, and co-founder of Towne Street Theatre, Los Angeles' premier African-American theater, died at the age of 66 at her home after a battle with cancer, surrounded by her husband and family on November 21st, 2024. Nancy's love for her family and her theater family knew no bounds. Her generosity, compassion, and concern for others was ever present, and her creativity, vision, and positive energy was an inspiration to everyone around her in her personal life and in her art. Nancy Cheryl Davis was born in 1958 in River Rouge, Michigan, a small town near Detroit, Michigan. The youngest of 5 children to Earl and Alberta Davis, she grew up in a loving environment, rich with family gatherings and neighborhood friendships. Holidays were full of family, whether blood-related or not, and there was room for everyone in their small home in River Rouge. Nancy's childhood experiences would inform her art in many ways. Her family, like many Black families, was mixed, with Black and white family members. Her family would travel frequently north to Sarnia in Canada, across the Great Blue Water Bridge, to visit her mother's family, the descendants of an immigrant German woman and a Black man who was born in the United States before emancipation. Her father's heritage harkened from Ohio, Virginia, and Maryland, again with plenty of mixing in earlier generations. The town of River Rouge, by contrast, was very segregated. Black people living on one side of the tracks, white people on the other. Life was truly black and white, and race remained in the forefront of daily life. But it was complicated as well. Everyone went to a segregated elementary school, but all attended high school together. And it was the many friendships of the class of '76, that bicentennial year, that would help influence how she formed her artistic and leadership skills later in life. As her awareness of the history and experience of African Americans in this country evolved from her early life, so did her awareness and disappointment of not seeing herself or anyone like her and her life experience in the movies or television. She knew in her heart that there were so many people and so many stories that had never been given their moment. Her life's purpose and passion would be to create an avenue to bring those stories to life. So Nancy began her career as an actress. In fact, she was cast for her first play in kindergarten. The title of the play was How to Brush Your Teeth Right, opposite Bunny Williams. She would also put together plays performed in the family garage for the neighborhood. Nancy was the highlight of the children's play circle. In today's language, a spirited child. When she would show up, she'd announce to her pals, "Here I am, everybody." Her destiny was to become an actress, a producer and director. She knew all the jobs from her early days. To support an acting career, Nancy knew she had to have a day job. What started as a temp job with the Archdiocese of Los Angeles was the perfect match and would last more than 30 years. Her employer respected Nancy's passion for her art and supported her with the flexibility of time to pursue her dream. Even so, she delivered 100% to her job, and she received frequent expressions of appreciation by her employer for her skills, her dedication, and her great commitment to service. During 1993, after the LA riots, when the city was working to heal, she co-founded Towne Street Theatre with her husband, Nathaniel Bellamy, and her dear friend, Nancy Renee. As the founding artistic producing director, she executive produced all shows in its 30-plus year history and conceived 4 of the theater's most popular and impactful plays, including In Response, Passing, Langston and Nicholas, and Millennium in Black. As an African-American woman determined to make a difference through her art, Nancy's varied background and challenges in her own career contributed largely to the positive can-do spirit and the life of Towne Street. Throughout her career, first as actress, then producer and director, she knew what it felt to be othered and the injustice one experiences being an artist of color and female. She also knew firsthand the healing qualities that theater provides, and that by creating one's own opportunities, one has the power to shape one's life. One of the most enjoyable parts of theater for Nancy was acting. She loved becoming part of an ensemble, which was like family to her. It is the spirit of family with inclusivity, the purpose, collaboration, and creative evolution that Nancy breathed into and continues to permeate throughout Towne Street Theatre today. Nancy was on a trajectory to bring us many more years of theater that conveys the complexity, history, and richness of the African American experience when she was struck by a fast-growing and mysterious cancer. In spite of this untimely end, she accomplished a great deal and has been aptly recognized with many prestigious awards. One of the many legacies that she leaves behind is being a mentor to hundreds of young actors. The message she gave to every actor she worked with was to make your own creative evolution. She was adamant that actors were actors, regardless of race or gender. Even writing a letter to Backstage West in 1997 in response to a review of an all-black cast production that the reviewer kept referring to the cast as black actors, no less than 5 times. She wrote, "One day, maybe, people of color will be thought of and reviewed as actors, not just fill-in-the-blank actors. 2025, perhaps?" Nancy is an alumna of the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco and the Directors Lab West. Sample directing credits include In Response, Langston and Nicholas, Millennium in Black, Passing, Sister Cities, Nevis Mountain, Dew, Joletta, 5 on the Black Hand Side, Jack Leg, 1969, Mad Woman of Shiloh, Story in Harlem Slang, and 2 short films, Family and Summer Dreams. Her adaptation of Passing Solo from the TST play Passing, adapted from Nella Larson's 1927 novella, is published in the anthology Black Woman Solo by Northwestern University Press. Passing Solo was performed at the University of Duisburg in Essen, Germany in 2016 after a critically acclaimed run at the Stella Adler Theater in Hollywood and also at Loyola Marymount University. This play is now part of the syllabus in performance studies at Stanford University, University of Santa Barbara, and the University of Duisburg, Essen, Germany. Nancy was also an adjunct professor of USC's School of Dramatic Art as a director, and her productions include Three Sisters, The Sign in Sidney Brustein's Window, and Counting, an original play by Aja Houston. She is the winner of the NAACP Best Actress Award for her portrayal of Claire Kendry Bellew in the 1997 Towne Street Theatre production of Passing, a Best Actress nominee for her portrayal of Sophie in Pearl Cleage's award-winning play Flyin' West and the St. Louis Black Repertory Company. In addition to a number of theater productions, she was also featured in iconic films such as Robert Townsend's Hollywood Shuffle, Keenan Ivory Winans' I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, the Hughes brothers' Menace to Society, and The Court Martial of Jackie Robinson, which starred a young Andre Braugher and Cassie Lemons. Television credits include Dexter, 1600 Penn, Sparks with Terrence Howard and James Avery, and The Young and the Restless, amongst others. Under Nancy's leadership as executive producer and artistic director, Towne Street received numerous NAACP theater awards and nominations, Valley Theater League nominations, a Drama Logue nomination, along with honors of recognition from the City of Los Angeles, Women in Theater, and the League of Allied Arts. In 2017, it was awarded the Kashi Dotson Award from the Inner City Cultural Center. In 2020, it was included in the National Black Theater of Harlem's Cultural Architects. The Jubilee defines cultural architects as organizations or individuals that have been producing work of historically marginalized voices for 20 years or more. Recently, Nancy was active in reunion planning for descendants of her father's ancestor, Nathan Williams, whose father had earned his and his family's freedom from slavery. Nathan Williams bought and farmed Fort Frederick, a decommissioned fort near Hagerstown, Maryland, with his wife and children for 60 years. Discovering this branch of family, the Williams family, brought Nancy much joy and love from an extended family that looks so much like family. She is preceded in death by her parents, sister Susan, brother Ronald. She's survived by her husband, Nathaniel Bellamy, sister Patricia Varner, Philip, brother Roy Davis, Ray Maestas, nieces Veronica McClelland, Maria Davis, Shondell Jones, and nephews, Andreas Davis, Taya Light, and Michael Varner, as well as a young great-grandniece, Mazikeen Davis Jones, and her brother from another mother, Mark Page, Pamela, and children, Maya and Noah. While Nancy and Nathaniel never had children of their own, the many company members who have been a part of Towne Street over the years, especially the younger generation, have always seen them as Mama and Papa. And it's through TST that their legacy will live on. Nancy sends her many thanks to all those who were a glorious part of her life, especially her main man, Nathaniel, AKA Mr. B, and one-man bleep crew. Now we will have a special song by Elena Musler. She was a TST Kids Camper for many years and has pursued a career in arts management as an adult. Nancy was so proud of Elena and everything she's been doing for the arts and taking TST out into the world. Elena?
Must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You've been content to let me shine. You always walked a step behind. all astray. Only a face without a name. I never once heard you complain. Oh, did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I'd like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle, with you as the wind beneath my wings. If I'd have appeared to go unnoticed, but I had you right here in my heart. I want you to know, I know the truth, that I would be nothing without you. Oh, did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I'd like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle, with you as the wind beneath my wings. Oh, you are the wind beneath my
Thank you, Alina. Now we're going to hear from some people who knew Nancy throughout her life.
All right, help me, Nancy, on this one. Oh, boy, after that song, I don't know. Okay, Pat, where are you? Okay. We grew up in River Rouge. They have on here growing up in Detroit, but we're going to scratch that. Of course, it was River Rouge. It was Campbell Street. It was also one block. We couldn't go off the block unless we had our adults or siblings. Nancy had, again, 5 siblings. She was the baby. I had 13 siblings, and I was the baby. So when we met, we were babies. My mother and her mother were best friends. So we had to connect automatically. We were just pushed together for some reason. So one day, my mother decided to walk down to Nancy's house, and Nancy was sitting on the porch. And as my mother walked in to go in with the other ladies, she said, "You have to babysit." I said, "Babysit who?" She said, "Nancy." I said, "Ma, I'm 5, Nancy's 4. Nancy is not going to listen to me." And Nancy tapped me on the shoulder and she said, "Uh-huh, because I'm your best friend." So from then on, as time went on, Nancy, like she said, the play that she was in, her first play, we were at Northrop Elementary School at that time. Nancy had got the part. So she was running out of the school so excited, looking for me to tell me, because of course I'm still on babysitting duty. So I'm outside waiting on her to come out of school so I can walk her to and from school to home every single day of my life. So when she came out and she approached me, she hugged me, grabbed my hair, doing everything. And I said, well, what did you say when you got the part? Oh, they just said I had to brush my teeth 20 times and I'll be famous. I'm like, oh, okay. So as time went on, of course, I had to walk her back and forth to school every day. So I thought that would end when she graduated from high school and I graduated from high school. But unfortunately, she went to Western Michigan University. I went to Boston College. So in 1978, she called me and she said, I'm coming to spend spring break with you. And I said, oh, okay. Well, she never left when she came to visit. So she was my roommate again, and I was babysitting. So also, I just felt like she should be the one to tell you her story. Nancy was a great writer. She wrote me a lot, too much. I don't know when she had the time to write. But she would say little things, and I think I would love for you, I would share them with you. I'm not going to share a lot with you because a lot of it you don't want to hear. But I'm going to share with you a few things so you can imagine what her life was like. Today, this is Nancy speaking to you. Today is my 61st birthday. So grateful for the life I have. I am surrounded by love of family, husband, and friends, which I have been most fortunate to have been my whole existence. This year, more quiet than last year, bash, of course, over Pat's house, but no less wonderful. Each year we are alive and healthy is a true grit and a gift. Thank you, universe, for my life. This birthday party, which I have the picture on, was in 1966, I think. I had the best backyard parties, birthday parties, and always thought Memorial Day was my birthday and not just a holiday. Going to miss all of this year so much, as I won't be able to make my regular summer journey to my hometown, but have great pictures and memories always. And of course, she always named everybody that was involved: Patricia Bonner, Philip Bonner, Roy Davis, Kamari Frame, George Bradley, Cynthia Day, Lois. She goes on to tell me everybody that was a part of her. So I'm gonna, okay, now this one here. So thought I was posting on my own page, maybe too early in the morning, and roller skates. Such great memories that song brings of my summer in Boston, 1978. It was my first time being on my own in another city or state, 20 years old. I went to a summer acting program, the Actors Workshop in Kenmore Square. A girl from Detroit / River Rouge delighted in riding trolley cars everywhere. Truly a time of joy and discovery, and I loved it. I didn't meet these Emerson folks there, but through the roommate of my dear friend, Patricia Hudson Johnson, whom apartment I was living at. Her roommate, Danny, last name escapes me. And when I met all these amazing people who became lifelong comrades, Michael Whitaker, Teresa Taylor, Arch Foster. Again, she lets me know everybody that's in the room, or she's so glad we're all still connected in some way, shape, or form. To you, always. Happy, happy birthday to my very first BFF after my sisters, Patricia Hudson Johnson. She's the one in the beautiful dress and pink party hat. That's again, she brought this picture and birthday party up every time I talk to her. And we are so lucky to literally have a friendship that has been in existence since we were babies. Love you, sis, so much and miss you madly. Have a great day. And the last one is, how wonderful it is to have a friend for your whole life. Happy birthday to my first best friend, who is my sister for life. Celebrating you and the beautiful person you are today. love from all your David Bellamy family today and always. So thank God for Nancy Davis Bellamy.
That was very good, Tricia. Good evening. My name is Teresa Taylor, and I'm so honored to be here to speak about the incredible woman that we are celebrating tonight, Miss Nancy Cheryl Davis Bellamy. I met Nancy in Boston in 1978 when I was attending Emerson College. A mutual friend who also attended Emerson introduced us. And we got a chance to hang out a few times while she was there, and I knew then that we were going to be friends. Fast forward. Nancy and I both moved to Los Angeles in the crazy 80s. And in 1984, we became roommates. Now, whether it was taking acting and improv classes together, watching Dynasty on Wednesday nights, dressing up for Halloween parties, dancing at the Improv on Melrose on Sundays, or grilling chicken on our hibachi outside of the apartment door, which was dangerous, by the way. We always had so much fun. We also made up some of the most outrageous voicemail messages. Our favorite was, "But you are in a wheelchair, Blanche." One of us was Blanche, the other one was Baby Jane. And it was a classic. Now, there is one story that I would like to share regarding an audition that we both went on together. It was an open call for the movie The Cotton Club. Now, we got ourselves looking like the baddest 1940s gangster mall chicks ever. Heels, hats, the works. And when we got there, we had to dance. Not look cute, okay? Dance. So we danced in what we were in, feet hurting and all, but remembering this is what you do when you're an actor. And we laughed about that audition for days. My friendship / sisterhood with Nancy continued even after being roommates. Before Towne Street Theatre existed, she displayed that thing for producing and directing, which she was very good at. And for the past 32 years, she was at the top of her game as artistic director of Towne Street Theatre, and she will be missed. But we are here tonight to celebrate her life, her legacy. And anyone here sitting in a seat who knew her knows what she meant to you. Now, there are so many more things that I could say about my time here on earth with her, but we would be here all night, and we still have a lot more of the program to go. So I'll just say this. Nancy wasn't just my best friend, she was my sister. And the memories that I have with her will forever, 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 forever be in my heart. Thank you.
Well, good evening. I'm Nancy Renee, and Nancy Cheryl Davis Bellamy was my producing partner for almost 40 years. At some point tonight, you're going to hear the Towne Street theme song. I don't hear it now, but our late musical director, Forrest Gardner, said, you know, your theater needs a theme song. And Nancy kind of went, okay. And, well, we have a theme song. Probably the only theater with a theme song, and all the voices are Forrest Gardner's. That's just one of the many decisions and ideas that Nancy made to keep Towne Street always relevant. She was a visionary with countless ideas of new ways to bring attention to and excitement about TST. Nancy Davis was more than just my producing partner. She was my dear, dear, dear friend, my true sister. She came to visit me in DC last May, right before her birthday, and she laughingly told me that the woman at the next table said to her husband, talking about us, they're sisters, I know they're sisters. That woman was so right. She was my sister, and it's really quite unfathomable that she's not here to look after all of us. That's what I keep thinking. So I am so very glad I made it to LA to see her last November. I was able to tell her she was my touchstone. And she said I was hers. And I know it was more than fate when we met. When it looked like we were going to be in a smaller room for this event, and we might need to look at another venue, Nancy interrupted me and said, Nancy Renee, it's all planned. And here we are. See, Nancy and I met in a production of the Scottish play in 1987. It was one of the first all-black classical productions performed in Los Angeles, and we were cast as two of the three witches. When we met, Nancy said, I've never met another black Nancy. And I said, I've never met another black Nancy. She would always say we were two young ingenues in Hollywood who weren't content to sit around and wait for the phone to ring. We wanted to have some control over our own careers. So a couple of months after the play closed, we were trying to decide on a name for our new production company. We considered TBN, Two Black Nancys. But we thought that might have been a bit too much. So we settled on a two-in production and hit the ground running. Nancy was always thinking about new projects we could tackle, and in those early days, we sure did a lot. Many times, there was no need to have auditions. Nancy could always see what actor was right for what part. She could see how each piece of the puzzle fit together, and as a producer-director, how each actor and their character would mesh, equaling a successful production. But during a lull, we weren't producing anything, so a two-in was simply two ingenues who got to wave at the crowd while riding on the back of a convertible in the Hollywood Christmas parade. Which brings me to Nancy Davis, the actress. Nancy had already made her unforgettable debut in Hollywood Shuffle before we met. But after, there were roles in films like I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, and Menace to Society, and television movies like The Story of Jackie Robinson. At that time, Hollywood was feast or famine. I guess it still is. But from agents saying to me, "What are you, black and?" Me, black and black. Or to Nancy, "Do you speak Spanish?" Nancy, "No." But he continued, "You know, it's a shame you all didn't come up with your own language." This is a family event, so I can't tell you what she said about that later. It was a different time, but Nancy booked that national commercial. It was from some allergy medicine or something, and they shot all of the actors in extreme close-up. You only saw this part of her face. You saw her mouth and her mole and her nose. You knew it was her, but some commercial head honcho deemed she wasn't recognizable, which means no residuals. But that was okay because Nancy was already working on her next project, her greatest role, In Passing. Several years before she moved to LA, Nancy was studying at ACT. She was given Nella Larsen's novella as a gift and told she was perfect for the character of Claire. During another Hollywood lull, we met writer Harriet Dickey. Harriet went on to become one of Towne Street's original members and one of its most prolific playwrights. But when we first met, she had never written a play, so she wrote a film adaptation of Nella Larsen's Passing for a two-in production, and we began shopping a treatment for the project. In true Nancy fashion, she ran into Suzanne DePass. Ms. DePass was then executive VP at Motown in charge of their film and TV projects. Nancy was able to tell her about our treatment, and she agreed to look at our adaptation. Suzanne DePass decided to pass on Passing. Nancy still had a copy of her letter. Ms. DePass said they had a similar project in the works. By the way, that similar project turned out to be Queen. Nothing similar about that. After that, our passing was sidelined for almost the next 10 years. In 1992, Los Angeles erupted after the Rodney King verdict. There were riots throughout the City of Angels. And in its aftermath, the Cultural Affairs Department sent out a missive that said, "Can the arts help heal LA?" Nancy thought so. We applied and received our first grant for a project we called The Play's the Thing. Each month, we would produce a new play reading with playwrights, actors, directors from all of the different communities in Los Angeles. We were presenting them at the William Grant Still Arts Center. It's south of Midtown on La Brea in LA. And one month, the venue double booked its space. Nancy's then boyfriend and future husband, Nathaniel Bellamy, a prominent downtown photographer with a loft on Town Avenue, said, "Why don't you do the show downtown at the loft?" And we promptly said, "Oh, no one's coming downtown for theater." Well, we had no choice, and Mr. Bellamy was right, as he usually is. About 75 people showed up, and Nancy said, Well, 6 months later, she began to develop her best idea ever, to open a theater, and 6 months later, Nathaniel had transformed his beautiful photography studio into the original location of Towne Street Theatre, a beautiful third-floor loft in the Garment District, downtown LA. Nathaniel officially became our third in, and we three were founders of the Towne Street train that is still going strong today, 32 years later. Yeah. And as our founding artistic director, Nancy crafted seasons of shows, readings, and special programming. It's a legacy that Nancy made sure would continue for, hopefully, another 30-plus years. We met and began working with some of our longtime members in that reading series. They were also part of some of our most successful productions during those early TSC years. Among them, playwright Barbara White Morgan, actor-director Ralph Morrow, and actor-director Cy Richardson, who directed the first passing, our first commissioned play. After producing and directing many other successful Towne Street productions herself, Nancy knew it was time for her to get back on the stage. It was time to revisit Passing. And in 1997, Nancy finally got the chance to bring Claire to life.
Towne Street, Towne Street. We're looking at Towne Street. We're looking at, you're looking at, we're looking at Towne Street.
Excuse me, but I think I know you.
I'm certain we've never met.
Don't tell me you're not Irene Westover, or should I say, Reen?
No one calls me Reen except...
Reen, it's me.
Claire?
Oh, for the past few weeks, I have had the feeling that something amazing and truly wonderful was going to happen.
Claire Kendry.
Dear sweet Reen, I'm not a ghost, I'm real. Touch me.
Oh, goodness, Claire.
I have thought of you each and every day since we were last together.
It's been so long.
Last month was 20 years since my father died.
Father thought it best for me not to attend the funeral. I was waiting at the house for your return and you never came back.
Oh, that's because as soon as they buried him, I was whisked away to Boston.
To whom?
Oh, an old spinster aunt on my mother's side. I never even knew she existed until I was sent to her. It was a cold, barren life. No visitors were allowed, and we did not visit. And as soon as I was able, I left and did not look back.
Well, Father said very little. His lawyer ethics, I imagine. At first, I feared the worst, but then decided if anyone could take care of herself, it was you.
Dear sweet Reen, do you know how many times I wrote you but tore up the letter before post time? It was so odd to go from sharing everything with you until quite suddenly nothing.
Oh, goodness, Claire. We indulged in a few schoolgirl imaginings.
Oh, those schoolgirl imaginings were my light in the darkest of times.
Kiss me once, then once more.
Is there nothing you don't do with style and determination?
Ah, flattery from you.
I don't deny the truth, even if I don't like it.
Well, you are an honorable man.
Don't patronize me, Claire.
Never. You and Reem's father have been the two most decent men I've ever known. Fate and luck have been her mainstays.
Why did you come here today, Claire?
To dance with you, of course.
Of course.
The drape is whites only. But sometimes, depending on how much sun catches me, I sport a touch of something exotic. A little Portuguese, perhaps. A bit of Italian. They're never really certain. But still, it's passable. And while I usually live quite happily in my Negro world, well, on occasion, passing permits me some segregated comforts that should rightfully be mine anyway.
Madam.
Maître D assumes this well-off white lady will leave a nice tip, so he graciously seats me and takes my order. The Maître D assumed correctly. I am a good tipper.
Hi, my name is Brian Chandler. And my first artistic experience with Nancy was the first production of Passing in 1997. The idea of Passing as a vehicle for Nancy was suggested by her friend Ben Guillory. Passing is the novel by Nella Larson. The story takes place in Harlem in the 1920s and centers around the reunion of two childhood friends, Claire Kendry and Irene Redfield, who are both light-skinned Negroes who can pass for white. Irene occasionally passes in order to experience things like dining at a fine restaurant that excludes Negroes. She is married to Dr. Redfield, my character, and they are part of the upper middle class society of Harlem. Claire Kendry, married to a white man, passes exclusively. The novel and the play explore race, gender, sapphic sexuality, sexual repression, class, jealousy, and colorism. Needless to say, the two leading characters are very complex. Nancy skillfully portrayed Claire Kendry with all the required nuances, which led to a win as Best Actress for the Beverly Hills Hollywood branch of the NAACP. Nancy went on to portray the character 4 more times. The last venture was as a one-woman show entitled Passing Solo, directed by Nancy Renee, in which Nancy played both leading characters, seamlessly transitioning back and forth between the two. I also got an opportunity to experience Nancy's directing skills, most notably in Towne Street's production of Langston and Nicholas. This tells the story of the friendship between Langston Hughes and Nicholas Gullion, a Cuban poet and writer. Justin Alston and Christian Rivas played the younger version of the two men, while Armando Ortega and myself played the older versions. The two men met in Cuba in 1930. Both men were described as poets of the people. Their poetry utilized the music and rhythms of their respective cultures. Both men used their art for social activism, sometimes at odds, which was the best approach to address the issues of class and inequality and racism. Under Nancy's adept directing, Nancy Renee's costuming and choreography, and Nathaniel's impeccable set and light design, a design I still feel should have won that year for the NAACP's Best Set Design, the story of their complicated friendship of 35 years came to life. Another major accomplishment of Nancy as an artistic director, along with Nancy Renee's suggestion, was the implementation of a summer musical theater camp for young people, ranging in ages from 7 to 17. The camp did not require an audition, just an interest in the theater. Young people explored their creative talents, developed a sense of self-confidence, gained skills in singing, dancing, and acting, thrived in a safe and protective community, learned discipline and a good work ethic which served them in whatever career path they chose. I am proud to say the students of that program are working theater, film, TV actors, jazz vocalists, art administrators, choreographers, and successful in other fields of endeavor. Finally, I want to mention one of the goals of Towne Street. It was started to try to use the arts to heal Los Angeles after the turbulence of the Rodney King verdict, to recognize our common humanity. In this day and age of dismantling DEI programs and the resulting boycott today, which I think is really significant that we're celebrating Nancy, still the social activist. Towne Street stands as a beacon of diversity, equity, and inclusion, addressing the issues and telling the stories through theater and now film of the various marginalized people of America and reinforcing our shared humanity. All of this and so much more is a part of your legacy, Nancy. This legacy which you have passed to the next generation. And I say, Nancy Cheryl Davis Bellamy, my sister, my friend, my co-creative partner, job well done. Job well done. And now here are some former TST kids, now fabulous young adults, to tell you how Nancy and her desire to empower the next generation has helped them to be who they are today.
I'm back, y'all. It is an amazing feeling to be on the receiving end of someone's unstoppable dedication to you, your potential, your passions, your success. That's what Nancy brought into our lives. As you may have heard, my name is Elena, or as Nancy used to call me, Elena, which took me 20 years to finally correct her on, because I started off as a shy little kid who, by a series of extremely fortunate events, ended up at the first year of the TST Kids Musical Theater Camp in 1999, when I was 9 years old. Being in this camp literally changed my life. I was an only child raised by a single, determined mother who found me this amazing village, which ended up raising me too, because TST became more than a safe place for me to spend my time in the summers. TST became the anchor to my upbringing, shaping my love of arts, entertainment, community, and culture. TST became my family. Nancy even encouraged Veronica, my inherited cousin, to go to the same high school as me, because after asking me about it, she knew V would be good there with me. Then when I got my Bachelor of Arts degree in theater, and throughout every single step of my professional career in the arts, Nancy was there too, to celebrate me. So it's about time I returned the love she so overflowingly gave me. So here's a little song I wrote, inspired by Nancy, for all of us to keep in our minds and our hearts as needed. In memory, that special place where I immediately reunite with your grace, the sound of your voice, the smile on your face. It's your light living within me now that can never be erased. Bright by divine design, you taught me how to live aligned, where passion and pursuit meet purpose and possibility. You literally changed the course of thousands of lives and developed this legacy of limitless proportions. It was your devotion that was our greatest gift. You uplifted, you raised, you nurtured, you cared, you mothered in ways we never dreamed we'd have. And now we honor you. We get to celebrate you. Thanks to you, we get to show the world what's really left of you. And with that, we will continue to receive your love, your light, your insight, your advice, while we visualize your smile, hear your laugh, trust your presence when you make your next memorable cameo in those serendipitous moments, through those intuitive whispers, and in those clear instances where we are meant to meet again, because the curtain hasn't fallen. You've just opened a new show, a show that must go on. Thank you. So besides me, there were countless TST kids who benefited from the creative container Nancy created for us that shaped our formative years and gave us all somewhere to safely explore, learn, and play with the possibilities for our lives using musical theater as a conduit. Fortunately, I was able to connect with a couple more TST kids, now all grown up as well, who Nancy had a tremendous impact on. And all of the kids that we were able to connect with gave us permission to bring their reflections into this space. And so with that, we'll start.
Hi, everyone. So I'm going to read a statement from another friend who was at camp. Her name was Shelby Wayne. She said, "Nancy and TST played a pivotal role in the development of my passion for musical theater and storytelling. And it's because of Nancy that I look forward to every summer."
Hello. These remarks are from Maya and Mel. I'd love folks to know that Nancy is the reason I started my own nonprofit and have gone to produce content for HBO, Meta, and Amazon Studios.
This is from Bree Robinson. I struggle to put into a few sentences the impact Nancy had on my life. I just keep thinking, how do you say goodbye to a person who, without their vision and deep love for the arts, the me and you that we are now wouldn't exist? I would not exist if it were not for the TST summer camp that Nancy created for us. When we were kids, Towne Street meant the world to us. Every summer, every rehearsal, every performance, every opportunity was made possible because of Nancy. All I know is that Nancy created an organization that made the arts accessible to everyone, and without her purpose, love, and guiding light, I would not have found theater. I would not have found a home for my imagination, my reveries, my passions. I really want to be there with you all to celebrate Nancy's life and legacy. But the only thing I have the capacity to do is listen to Bubbling Brown Sugar and God Bless the Child. And remember, Nancy is the reason why I fell in love with theater in the first place.
This is from Tony Lorich II, or as we called T2. Maya Angelou said, "People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." One of Nancy's many gifts was curating experiences and cultivating community. She always had a way of making you feel welcomed, supported, and seen both artistically and personally. When you think of someone's legacy, you think of the impact and imprint they made on those around them. For Nancy, this just came organically. Her warm spirit and charm would comfort and disarm anyone she encountered. We were all lucky to have her in our orbit. Although she will be missed, her spirit will live on through TST forever. We love you, Nancy.
These remarks are from Joshua Boyd Williams, who is here with us tonight. Hi, Josh. Towne Street Theatre summer camp was always something I looked forward to when I was a kid. Not just because I've made so many friends there, but because I've had the opportunity to do what I love. My mom introduced me to this company when I was 8, and it has forever changed my life. If it wasn't for TST kids and Nancy, I don't think my passions for acting, singing, or theater in general would be as strong as it is today. I've been very grateful to have opportunities to perform with TST in their show In Response and their 10-minute play festival. Went on to appear in a primetime show, and am currently co-starring in a kids show for a streaming service. My mom has told me this many times. Nancy has created a legacy with TST kids. From someone who is still pursuing acting today and seeing what some of my fellow TST kids alumni have accomplished, this statement still rings true. Nancy has had a huge impact on my life, and I am forever thankful for her. She not only created a theater company along with Nancy Renee, but she created an incredible community and everlasting legacy. It is very hard to say goodbye, but just like my mother, I am lucky and grateful that Nancy Cheryl Davis has been in my life.
Not to be confused with Tony 2, this is from Tony 3, yes, 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 or T3, as we like to call him. When we celebrate Nancy, we simultaneously celebrate the community she helped nurture, a community that helped mold me into the young man I am today. I've been blessed to work in the entertainment industry on commercials, TV shows, cruise ships, video games, and more with the skills that Nancy's community taught me, and the confidence she projected into me constantly. I love her deeply and will cherish the life-changing moments we shared.
Okay, this one's actually from me. 20 years ago, I joined TST's Kids Camp, so I was 11 years old. And this ended up being one of the most impactful and joyful experiences of my entire life. I remember the excitement of learning how to tap dance, discovering Duke Ellington's music for the first time, and the thrill I felt when I first heard Take the A Train. I heard Lena Horne singing Stormy Weather, and then I found an amazing community of friends and teachers that I'm still friends with to this day, and I would always sob when those summers came to an end. I didn't realize at the time that these very small little moments at TST were actually such big moments in my life, which set me on a path to discover and fall in love with jazz and the Great American Songbook, and I thank Nancy and TST and all the teachers for giving me this art form and the greatest joy of my life. Nancy and the teachers at TST are exceptional artists, but they're also so warm, hilarious, and genuinely loving people. They taught us how to sing, act, dance, and step into ourselves with confidence. Nancy had this unique ability to brighten any room with her laugh and joy, and yet her love always felt specific and personal to each of us here in this room. Even years after camp ended, Nancy continued to send messages of love and support on Facebook. If I posted a song, she'd say, "Oh, I love that song, keep going, Izzy." She's awesome. And she would cheer us on like we were still 11 years old. I am forever grateful to Nancy for founding TST Kids Camp, and I will always cherish the music, the friends, and the community that she gave me. Thank you.
And I'm Christine Crosby, and these are my remarks. There's both too much and not enough to say about the impact that Nancy and Towne Street Theatre have had on countless lives. My years with TST Kids not only shaped me as a performer, but as a human being who values storytelling and connection. Nancy always exuded a power and grace that made you want to follow her direction, not out of obligation, but admiration. Anytime we were on stage, Nancy was adamant that we find our light. She believed that our presence, even as children, was deserving of the spotlight and encouraged us to find it. That self-advocacy and action has followed me through every avenue of my life, and I am forever grateful. Miss Nancy, we miss you, but it warms my heart to know that you're now a part of that light that shines on us all.
Woo! So, all of these amazing reflections just go to show how powerful Nancy's legacy truly is. One of my favorite, this is me, literally me talking, Nancy memories is that she would never allow us to utter the words, "I can't." So just knowing that all of her passion, dedication, inspiration, and motivation has and will continue to live on throughout this next generation that she poured so deeply into through everything we can do is such a blessing. And we are so grateful we could be here tonight to represent the TST kids, all grown up, in sharing her phenomenal impact and honoring just all that Nancy is tonight. So thank you.
Hi, me again. Bear with me, I'm just going to have to switch things up a little bit because our TST kids are wonderful, and they're not kids anymore. They are fantastic young adults, and I couldn't be prouder. In 1999, Nancy told me that she wanted to have a TST summer musical theater camp and wanted me to be the program director. See, working with kids was not on my radar then, but I think it has turned out to be one of the most important programs and one of the most important things that I've ever done. I couldn't be prouder of all of our kids, whether they're in the arts or not. And I will be forever grateful that Nancy had a desire to start a program to empower the next generation. I believe that with all of the help from our teachers for 14 years, Brian Chandler, Deborah Sharp Taylor, Forrest Gardner, Veronica Thompson, Cy Richardson, and many others, I believe that's just what we did. See, our camp wasn't intensive. We had kids 7 to 17, acting, singing, and dancing every day from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And what started out as a, thank you, what started out as a one-week camp with a final performance ending in a performance soon became a two-week camp ending in a performance of Disney's Beauty and the Beast. That first camp was done in the sanctuary of St. Bridget's Church, and Beauty and the Beast was done in a 1,500-seat theater, I think, that sold out. We could have run that show for a week, and it went from there to a fantastic production of The Wiz to our equally fantastic original productions of TST Glee or TST Idol, and those were at our new theater home, Stella Adler Theater in Hollywood. When Nancy first mentioned the camp to me, I didn't realize how important those years would turn out to be for all of us. I wanted the kids to know the most important lesson of being in a true ensemble is to be there and be supportive of each other, and they got it. And Nancy was always there to give them her own unconditional love and support for everything they did, and they got that too. Now let's go back to passing. You see, Brian didn't remember that in that first 1997 production of Passing, it was such a big hit that its initial run of 6 weeks moved up to 10 weeks of sold-out performances. He didn't remember that, but we all remember that Nancy received the Best Actress Theater Award from the NAACP for her performance in that production of Passing, and rightfully so. Nancy brought Claire back to life 3 more times in our encore productions. Passing was in 1998, 99, and for our 10th anniversary, we brought it back at Stella Adler, and that was 2004. It was our most requested 10th anniversary presentation, and the show got bigger and bigger with each presentation. 7 actors in 97. By 2004, I believe it was 19 actors. And the 2004 Passing was the first production at our new and current theater home, Stella Adler in Hollywood. Now, after that last Passing, Nancy sat down and she actually adapted Passing for her own one-woman show. It was called Passing Solo, where she not only played Claire, she played Irene. And was it that tightrope between sanity and insanity? Who knows? Only Irene knows in her mind. And we had so much fun playing it out. The last production of it at Stella Adler, I loved the fact that I was able to direct Nancy in that, and that's the production that went to Düsseldorf, Germany. And she continued doing Passing Solo, and that last clip of Passing was from Passing Solo. Now, we would be here hours if I tried to tell you about the many ideas and programs that Nancy thought up for TST over the years. I tell you about the shows she conceived and directed, closely working with playwrights like Harriet Dickey on Millennium in Black, or with Bernardo Solano on Langston and Nicholas. I tell you about the programming she thought up, like our Black Classic series, and the classics we produced, like Five on the Black Hand Side, or Nevis Mountain Dew, or our own classics. In addition to Passing, we had Jolita and Start of Conversation. Nancy also conceived of our 10-minute play festival, In Response, #MeToo, and all of the monthly online programming we did during the pandemic. I would have loved to see the spin that she would have put on the upcoming In Response 2025. There's so much material to work with. And that girl was always thinking. And so now we're going to change things up a bit. I would like to introduce you to R.J. Wayne with Dan Cato Wilson. R.J. Wayne came to Towne Street, and he is a hip-hop artist. And it might surprise you to know that Nancy nor myself were really that familiar with hip-hop. But Nancy saw the potential in what he was doing, and we started watching what was happening. It was one of our biggest selling shows, and R.J. Wayne will tell you more about his project, Milk Crate Musicals. But first, I believe he has an original song for Nancy.
What's up, y'all? How's everybody doing? So, my name is R.J. Wayne, and for the last 7 years, I've been a main company member of Towne Street Theatre in Los Angeles at the Stella Adler Theatre, and I'm extremely proud of that, and I love that. Yes. Cue the theme song. But I came to Nancy in 2018. I'd really just begun to really dig my heels into the LA scene and make a go of it as an actor and an artist, although I've been doing it for some time. And so I started doing tech, and I started doing readings, and within a few weeks, I had given her this manuscript that I'd written while I was teaching in San Jose, and it was a manuscript for 10 monologues that were in hip-hop verse for theater. I could bore you with the details, but just suffice to say that we rap while we doing theater, and we look good and sound good doing it. All right. She called me up, and I don't remember giving her my number. and she said, you know, this manuscript you gave me, you got the green light, so we're going to develop it as a play. And the play became a book because a benefactor was in the crowd when we performed it. And that book became a published book, that became a published play. And now we have pre-production for Milk Crate Monologues to be in theaters in California and multiples. So that's going on. And we're always going to come home. We're always going to do Milk Crate at the Stella or wherever Towne Street is, and I made Nancy that promise that you know, either my time or my money is going to be in Towne Street, and I'm always going to try to do both. We used to speak maybe about once or twice a month since then, for about 6 years, and we talked the work, we would talk basketball. We were Lakers fans. We were always talking that up, but she would really push me and encourage me to push past my preconceived limitations and always reach for the depth and grasp what I was really here to do this for, you know? And yeah. And so I was directing a film in Colorado with another Towne Street member who had written it. So I did not hear of her passing until I returned. And I did not get a chance to speak with her in those last few days or weeks. But little birdie told me that when the discussion for this event was happening, that she wanted me to perform something for her. So that's why I'm up here doing it. And I wrote an entirely new Milk Crate monologue just for Nancy. And I'm proud to also say that this is going to be entered into the lexicon of the play, and it'll be performed with the play as well. So this is the 11th Milk Crate. And I'm sure you'll catch the meaning. It's called Call Your Mother. Call your mother, tell her that you love her. Tell her that you're blessed to hear her breath upon the other line. Days get busy and so do long nights, but the last time you see it may have been the last time. So call your mother, tell her that you love her. Tell her that her love in your heart is never left behind. That if it all ends tonight, you gon' be alright. Cause what she gave you is true and solidified. Sometimes I don't know what I do this thing for. Why can't I just be a lawyer or a doctor? Why does my mind lay nascent for operation? Why does the art make my heart rest softer? The music plays in the million stations. In my imagination, the billion children to foster. In rejection and devastation, you get complacent. The price is way more than I can offer. It was you who saw me in my moment of doubt. It was you who saw really what this kid was about. It was you who had a knack for putting it together from a different lovely angle and then turned me around. So thankful for the home that I found, the legacy in this town. You built a family, they surrounded me now. Let my tears drop into the sound that will fertilize the next generation with your memory. It was meant to be. Call your mother, tell her that you love her. Tell her that you're blessed to hear her breath upon the other line. Days get busy and so do long nights, but the last time you said it may have been the last time. So call your mother, tell her that you love her. Tell her that her love in your heart is never left behind. That if it all ends tonight, you gon' be alright. You gon' be alright. Used to tell me get up out of her head. Same page, same vibe, but queen of leaving things unsaid. Let her actions speak for her. Unless you ran your mouth, then she had something for you. Ran a tight ship with enough space to walk around. Never burdened us with the trouble, she just held it down. Never questioned your commitment, she just called you out. She can sense the smallest blemish detail and then smooth it all out. The loss I feel is enormous. Hope when you arrived that they all sang in chorus. Hope you held the hands of the ones who held closest. Just know that we adore you. If we prove worthy, knowing you would save a place for us. The Broadway cats have always had it so wrong. The show has to wait, the heart must go on. So I humbly offer you these words to my song. Your energy's never gone, always meant to be my stage mom. Call your mother. Everybody do me a favor, snap with me. No claps, snaps. Say Nancy. Nancy. Say T-S-T. T-S-T. Say Davis. Davis. Say Bellamy. Bellamy. And say Nancy. Nancy. And say T-S-T. T-S-T. Say Davis. Davis. And say Bellamy. Bellamy. Yo, call your mother. Tell her that you love her. Tell her that you're blessed to hear her breath upon the other line. Days get busy and so do long nights, but the last time you said it may have been the last time. So call your mother and tell her that you love her. Tell her that her greatness is always shining through your eyes. Don't be like me and keep it all connected. Yes, I'm in the words, but I wrote it because I never said it. I wrote it because I never said it. Yes, I mean the words, but I wrote it because I never said it.
And Now I'm pleased to announce that we are going to hear from Nancy's family.
Wow, she did this with such ease. I'm Patricia Varner, Davis Varner. My brother.
I'm Roy.
He's Roy. Thank you. Okay, closer. First time ever.
She's used to talking to kindergartners. I told her to just imagine a bunch of 6-year-olds out there. So,
And I can't even see them. Okay. I got this? Okay. Well, for 66 years, 5 months, and 21 days, I had the best baby sister ever. Early on, Nancy knew what she wanted to do. She was a superstar with supervision. Watch out, Hollywood, here I come. Nancy will forever be my superstar baby sister. Ooh, we spoke very frequently and started our conversations with her saying, "Patty Wat, where you at?" I would say to her, "Nanny Boo, what you up to?" Because that was a truly valid question, because she was always up to something. Whether it was her dedication to her clients at the Archdiocese and making the priests happy with her recommendations and decisions, their appreciation for what she did for them was truly heaven sent. Her devotion to TST was with endless love and patience for all of those who were lucky enough to be in her circle. She would see that her loving husband, Nathaniel, and her very special niece, Veronica, were okay, and then she would check up on Big Sis. She wore a lot of hats, as you already have heard. She was actress, producer, director, boss, and she was a great nurse. I probably missed one or two, but you can come up with one yourself, I'm sure. Nancy, as you could see by the pictures out there, was an adorable baby. I didn't know much about her through her teenage years. We didn't spend too much time together, because I was 14 years older and I was off being grown and she was doing what teenagers do. But as adults, we started staying in touch more often and became inseparable. Nancy made it possible for me to be exposed to so much of the theater life, which I knew nothing about. We traveled to Germany, where she was so warmly greeted and performed her trademark production, Passing Solo, and she was the boss. She had those college kids in awe of her. Then we were in Chicago in the freezing January for a book signing and hanging out with E. Patrick. Then Nancy returned to Detroit for a breast cancer fundraiser doing Passing Solo and was the talk of the town. Well, as it's been said before, I'd be standing here all night if I went into detail about our adventures and our times together, because there were so many and we were so compatible. We'd get a side eye every now and then, like, "Girl, what you doing?" But we didn't argue. It was, Nancy had so much strength, and perhaps her greatest strength was knowing what she needed and going after it. Our daddy would say she was stubborn. Well, it was the combination of determination and stubbornness that made her go after her dreams. She had a dream at a young age of wanting to be in Hollywood. Looking around this room, and I can't see you, but I know you're there. She accomplished her goal. She said it, and she did it. Nancy was the baby of our family, but that's about it when it comes to being a baby. She was no baby in the grown-up world. She had an uncanny ability to lead people, and people would follow. And Nanny Boo had personality, just like the song says. She walked with personality. She talked with personality. And she had a great big smile. That song's going to be in your head today. Nancy was a people person, and family gatherings were so joyful to her. She was aware of her serious health challenge, but she chose to postpone treatment until after a family reunion in Hagerstown, Maryland, followed by more family fun and friend time in Detroit. The memory of her turning 66 and playing pickup sticks around the table with grown-ups, whooping and hollering and having belly laughs. She made the best out of everything, no matter how big, how small, for herself and all those around her. Nancy was a peacemaker. She believed there was no reason, absolutely no reason for continued discourse. All things could be solved with kind words and realization that we are all on the same earth for a short time. There was a time when brother and I were upset with each other about something or other, and she said, "Enough. End this now." And we did. Her yearly summer visits to our home in Southfield, Michigan were so full of goodness and gratitude and belly laughs. We must have done a lot of belly laughs. I keep talking about that. That time of year and Christmas time were memories that will last a lifetime. She was truly a Christmas baby and enjoyed the festivities of the holiday. Nancy was aware of the sun setting. Our conversation on October 27th did not start with our usual greeting. This time she said, "Hey sis, I'm dying." And we both laughed a bit because we were kind of silly like that, and agreed it'd been a hell of a ride. She had a firm grip of the words, "It is what it is, and it isn't what it isn't." She did not let the fear of time steal her joy. My superstar sister was surrounded with a circle of family and friends for the next and final 24 days. Nancy was the most pleasant baby sister, and I will recall our memories with gratitude, laughter, and love always. Every final goodbye has something to teach us. Take the way Nancy lived her life and find joy in every breath you take. In her honor and in support of her legacy, stay with or get involved in giving financial assistance to Towne Street Theatre. The treasure of Towne Street continues. Namaste.
Well, that's going to be kind of hard to follow. Because of the difference in our ages, I never really, at the beginning part of our lives together, I didn't think of her as a person. I thought of her as a little baby sister. I was a teenager, and she was a baby, and I didn't have much to do with her, but I did recognize that she was incredibly cute. I mean, she was, anyway. Somebody mentioned her, appearing on the porch and saying, "Okay, everybody, here I am." And that's the kind of little kid she was. She just was full of herself.
Full of herself.
You knew that she was special. She was something special.
She was special.
And it wasn't until both Tricia and Teresa mentioned their time in Boston. Well, the first time she went to Boston, I drove her. And she was 16 or 17. I was in my late 20s. And it was the first time that we had ever had a real conversation. And you know, a long car trip, you know, gets you talking about all sorts of things. But that was when I first got to know her. I sort of got introduced to this adult person who, you know, she was just my baby sister, but I could see that she was an adult who cared deeply about the world and about her place in it. And I could see how much it meant to her that everybody should be treated fairly and without special treatment. I mean, she was just so passionate about this. I mean, when she was 16 or 17, and she was just full of this energy and passion and absolute faith in her future. And that's not, you know, surprising for a young person, for a teenager. But the great thing about Nancy is that this continued. She was always that way. Even, you know, as she grew older and saw more and more of life, that passion and that faith in things just stayed with her. I was always amazed at how much she could do. You know, I didn't talk to her on the phone as much as Pat did, but when we did talk, and she would just describe a typical week, I would get tired listening to her. She did so much. I mean, she did more than most people, but she also, not also, but part of that was taking care of the people around her, taking care of Veronica and Nathaniel, helping Veronica navigate the complex world of healthcare, and also providing unconditional love and support. That sort of energy and passion and faith also helped her overcome a lot of the challenges and the disappointments that went with acting. You know, it's a dangerous career. Oh, I just can't even imagine. But she knew that, you know, if things didn't work out the way she wanted them to, if she saw a part go to somebody else when she knew it should come to her, or if one of the productions didn't go the way she wanted it to, she would say what Scarlett O'Hara said in Gone with the Wind, tomorrow is another day. And rather than waste time with what didn't happen, she was ready to move on to the next thing. And just a quick something about that. One of the thing that she was so passionate about at the end was the Williams family.
Yes.
Was coming home in a way to this part of our family that we didn't know anything about for most of our lives. But then when we discovered these people that were our relatives, and we found out that they were, you know, they looked like us, we were connected, even though all these generations had gone by that we hadn't been in touch. And the people that I think Roxanne mentioned a little bit about this family who had come to this country as slaves, but who were able to get themselves free and get themselves prosperous. Even this is before the Civil War. This was in the early 1800s. She was just fascinated by this story, and you know, no surprise, she thought about trying to dramatize that story and make it into a film or a play. When we started talking about reunions and trying to have more reunions, she threw herself into this project of bringing this family together. She was so eager to get involved in it. And she knew that, I mean, I know that there was nothing that was going to stop her from doing this, except for cancer.
Damn.
I remember Nancy as someone who was always positive. She knew how bad life could be, but she chose to see the good side. Not because she was naive or, didn't know or uninformed, but because that was her choice. She chose to see the good side. And she never, there was never any self-pity, even when she got sick. And even when she was sick and facing the end of her life, she used what little energy she had left to help prepare for the future. A future that she wasn't going to see. But she did. She spent her last days working to make sure that Towne Street would survive and thrive, and that Veronica and Nathaniel would be taken care of. I mean, that's what she was. During the planning stage of this tremendous event, there was some discussion about what to call it. At first, it was a celebration of life, of a fabulous life, and it certainly has been that. And also, we wanted to call it a memorial. But the best idea was to call it Nancy's Party.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And we both want to thank you all for coming together today. And I'm sure that this evening is something that Nancy would have loved to be part of. Because as we know, that girl loved a good party. Thank you.
I just have one thing to say, and something I read, and it touches the heart so much. It's like remembering someone is easy. You can do it every day. But missing someone, that's a heartache that doesn't go away. But we want us who are left of the family to say, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But support TST.
Tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes, each one she passes goes, ah.
Hello. That's me. I'm one of Nancy's many nieces, both by blood and spiritually. Oh no. Dang it. I got this. I don't really know how to introduce Nathaniel except as the love of Nancy's life. Whenever I would think about, marriage or whatever, and, my parents didn't work out and I was just kind of like, I would think about them because their love was so strong and so pure and just so perfect. And yeah. All right, perfect husband, come up here.
I'm done.
You're done? Okay. All right. He might interrupt me later. All right. Okay. I can't really tell if I'm like the luckiest person alive or maybe like the unluckiest. I got to grow up with two wonderful moms, but then I also had to let both of them go. I've been feeling pretty discombobulated the last few months, like a rug was pulled out from underneath me and I haven't gotten my balance yet. But as I move forward in this strange timeline where one of the best people to ever live is gone and each day kind of feels like We're walking further and further along a tightrope strung across an abyss. 2025. I try to navigate this new terrain with a Nancy compass. I'm sure I'm not the only one to feel shaky recently, so I kind of wanted to share this Nancy compass with you, in case you're also looking for guidance. Nancy had what I like to call strong auntie energy. Picture a really fluffy hen, you know, one of those like white ones with the fluffy feathers and people keep them as pets. It's kind of strange imagery, but you know, stay with me. She would gather all of these nieces and nephews and non-binary children of siblings. She would gather them under her wing and just give us what we needed. Whether she was your aunt by blood or if she was like your spiritual aunt, she would give you warmth, comfort, a place to rest, a cuddle. Nancy was an emanator of goodness. Now, I'm not saying she was like a goody two-shoes or some angel from on high gracing us with her presence. She could give you a peck with that metaphorical beak if you needed it. She was just as human as the rest of us, which I think makes her kindness all the more special and revolutionary. What she called her creative support job at the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. I think about that because she didn't just clock in and out. This wasn't a normal 9 to 5 for her. She worked hard and she helped so many retired priests with their insurance troubles. And let me tell you, there's a lot of insurance troubles. So when I get stuck, when I run up against a problem, a difficult situation, a weakness, a mistake, I ask myself, what would Nancy want me to do in this situation? The answer that I came to when I listened to my memories of her is to move through it, whatever it is, with love. There's so many facets of love that no matter the situation, it's possible to use love to get through it. Maybe it's self-love. Being kind to myself when I make a mistake. Maybe it's telling the people in my life that I love them. Maybe it's holding on to the feeling of love. One of those big Nancy hugs, where she would just squeeze you tight. I try to remember that when I get really sad. What I'm trying to say is, I really miss my Aunt Mom. She used to call me sister's baby. She was amazing. She could do all the things, all at the same time, as I'm sure you've heard. When I get bogged down by sadness, I try to pull out my Nancy compass and walk forward with love. I think that's what she'd want us to do. Go forward with love. Anything to say? Thanks. Bye. Oh, okay.
Are you finished?
I'm done. Yes.
Sure. Hi. I had been plagued by this for some time. What would I say when I came up here? And I thought about very long soliloquies and all that kind of stuff, you know? And I really thought about it, and it was more like, there's really no way to describe her. She was like phenomenal for me, I put it that way. We kind of grooved together, and we talked on the same plane. And I remember when I met her on the set of Robert Townsend's Hollywood Shuffle. And it was a scene where she's going up the steps in these white striped pants. And I said, I'd like to know her. So I pursued her, seriously. There was a guy from South Africa who was also pursuing her in his own way. And I decided I wasn't going to tolerate that anyhow. And so I took some photographs of her because I had a studio. And she said, you know, the only thing I don't have is a theater. And I said, well, let's turn this into a theater. So I turned my photo studio into Towne Street Theatre. And I must admit, it was the best thing I ever did, you know. And I think that's about all I want to say, outside of the fact that presently, I'm very sad, because I miss her very much. She's a very integral part of my life. She knew when I was full of bullshit. She did. And she knew how to not say it, but work around it, that I said, okay, I understand. And life went on. So I just want to say she was a really great person, a wonderful person, actually. And I miss her. And I imagine you do too. And I gotta go.
Good evening. So my story and my relationship with Nancy is a little different from most everyone else up here, because we talked about the TSD kids who started with Nancy and Towne Street in their 5, 6, 7 years old. I was 63. So I moved out here, like Nancy did, to pursue theater and music. But shortly after moving out here, I fell in love, had kids, and I left the business for like 35 years. And I got to a point where the passion, I felt that spark, the fire was still burning, and decided, okay, it's time to try to find somewhere to see if I can still do this. And started kind of Googling, searching around, and looked for black theaters. And Towne Street Theatre was the first theater that popped up. I got in contact with Nancy, said, hey, I really want to be a part of this, you know. I volunteered for their upcoming productions as just to volunteer, you know, usher. I ushered. And we seemed to have, you know, I could see where she saw there was something about me. And so she invited me back for the next season to audition. And so I auditioned. I became a member of Towne Street Theatre, and that was very important because in my 20s, I thought I was going to be an actor, I thought I was going to be an artist, thought I was going to be a singer. But after being away for 35 years, I wasn't really sure if I still had it or what I had to offer. So Nancy continued to encourage me. She supported me. I consider Nancy to be a sister, a friend, and a mentor. And I can truly say that because of Nancy, I am a better artist. I'm a better actor, I'm a better person. So I was told that Nancy and Nathaniel like to listen to, classic, jazz, old standards and things of that sort. And so I thought of this song, one, because of the love that they demonstrated in front of us throughout all the productions and all the years that we would see them. They were a power couple. But I think also you listen to the lyrics, it applies to each one of us as to the spirit and the love and the giving that Nancy gave us, and how we would want to give it back.
What are you doing the rest of your life? North and south and east and west of your life. I have only one request of your life, that you spend it with me. Seasons and the times of the days, all the nickels and the dimes of your days. Let the reasons and the rhymes of your days all begin and end with me. Oh, let me be the one to hear the silent wish you make. Those tomorrows waiting deep in your eyes, in a world of love you keep in your eyes. I'll awaken what's asleep in your eyes. In magical kisses, for all of my life, summer, winter, spring, and fall of my life, all I ever will be called of my life is all my life with you.
Good evening. I am Veronica Thompson, one of the earliest members of Towne Street Theatre. When I first met Nancy Davis, we were both selected to act in a play called, what was the name of that play? Southern Girls. It was an original play, If you buy it from French, you'll see our pictures on the front page. And she said to me, I have my own theater. And I was like, yeah, that's nice. And it just went over my head until the day she called me and asked me to come down to Towne Street Theatre, which was down in the loft, down in the deepest dark part of LA. But once you got into the loft, you felt like you were in New York City. And when I took that elevator up that Nancy Renee absolutely hated, I was fascinated with the layout. I didn't know anybody could do this. And we became friends ever since. And I followed her for 32 years. And I'm glad I did it. I found out that she was not only talented, but she was a brilliant personality, absolutely. She did things that I didn't want to have any part of doing. I was so glad she was doing it all. She wrote a letter to you that I'm about to present to you. And this letter is entitled, Moving Forward. Towne Street Theatre was founded 32 years ago by Nathaniel Bellamy, Nancy Renee, and myself. Our goal was and continues to be to develop theater that heals and provides inspiration. As I near the final chapter of my life, and after much reflection and introspection, I have determined that the best way to keep the Towne Street Theatre legacy alive for the next 30 years is to hire long-term members, Veronica McClellan and Sarah Allen Bauer, as our new CEO and COO. Nancy Renee, Nathaniel, and I feel this is the best strategy for our organization to move forward as a theater of color that incorporates all artists. Since our inception, we have been known as LA's premier African American theater company. As we continue to gain new members and be seen by more diverse audiences, we have come to realize that our message is universal regardless of skin color or creed. Our stories have always been told by diverse artists and always will be. Therefore, the continuation of TST's legacy will be under the leadership of Veronica McClellan and Sarah Allen Bauer, who will be guided by co-founders Nathaniel Bellamy and Nancy Renee. At this time, I would ask both ladies to join me on the stage, please. Oh, they're already here.
So quick.
Nancy often referred to TST as a family. And as I mentioned in her Moving Forward letter, our stories have always been told by diverse artists. Please meet some of them. Stand if you are a current member. Can we get lights? Stay standing. Past company members. TST Associates, a guest artist, current or former advisory board member. TST Kids. Current current and former production staff, all directors, producers, playwrights, authors featured in our literary series, publicists, moderators, and guests for our talkback conversations, the staff of Stella Adler Theater. And there are more TST affiliates watching on the live stream tonight. So y'all's on television. And now, if you ever attended a Towne Street presentation, please stand. And join us. As a reviewer once wrote, Towne Street is the place where audience and artists come safely together. Thank you all.
Thank you, Veronica. I promise we're almost done. I will keep this very short. Veronica McClelland, or V2 as she has so dubbed herself, so as not to be confused with Veronica Thompson. We are honored to continue the legacy of Nancy, along with all the members of Towne Street for the next 30 years. While Veronica has been a part of TST from the very beginning as the unofficial mascot, I first started with TST in 2010 as a stage manager on Langston and Nicholas. I never imagined I would have found a family of artists that encouraged me to grow as both an artist and a person. Nancy and I hit it off right away, and we joked that we had the mind meld, as we would constantly, be sending emails, texts, or phone calls that the other would say, "I was just thinking that and about to contact you," and then we would burst out laughing. And I will miss her laughter and the way she would nurture all of the artists around her the most. The legacy that Nancy Renee, and Nathaniel have created has been with me from that very first show. And we look forward to continuing the mission that they started back in 1993, that art heals. And so I want to leave you with some of Nancy's final words she shared with me in those final weeks that I think we can all hold close. Stay true to yourself and be full of love and light. Thank you.
What a glorious evening we've had. I want to thank every single person, all of you who came to celebrate this big party tonight. Your presence here means everything, and every single person who did anything to bring this together. It took a whole village to make this party work. So I'm so grateful for that. If you haven't signed the guest book yet, it's out front. If you're parked at the Methodist Church, please make sure you're out by 10:30 when the gates will be locked, or you'll be in church a long time. We're going to end tonight with one of Nancy's favorite songs by one of TST Kids campers, Christine Crosby, along with her fellow campers. We encourage everyone to join in at the chorus, as it's a song that we all know. And I just want to say my parting words are this. My takeaway, my very succinct takeaway from the evening is to love hard. Love hard and live out loud. Find out what makes you passionate and do that. That would make Nancy happy. We love you, Nancy, and we always will.
by me, beside me, to guide me, to hold me, and to scold me. 'Cause when I'm there, I'm so bad. So, let's dance, mom. The last dance. Everybody now, let's dance. The last dance. Let's dance. The last dance tonight. Last dance. Last dance for love. Yes, it's my last dance. Romance tonight.
Tall and tan and young and lovely, the gal from Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes, each one she passes goes.
Hey there, I am Nancy Cheryl Davis Bellamy, the Artistic Producing Director of the Towne Street Theatre, and
I am Veronica McClellan, the Administrative Assistant and blog writer for the Towne Street Theatre.
And we are here today because it's Giving Tuesday, which means we really need your help. We are asking for $30 for 30 years of Towne Street this year.
Can you believe it's been 30 years? With your donation of $30, we can make it another 30 years, especially if we hit our goal of $30,000 by the end of the year.
Just think, you'll be 1 out of 1,000. What are the odds? We hope that you will help us make it over the finish line for $30,000 for 30 years of Towne Street Theatre. Amazing, innovative theater. Go to townstreetla.org to donate. TOWNESTREETLA.org.
You want to fall back?
I forgot about the falling back.
Gotta make sure I turn my head. I won't be
more